What a great time to bring somebody on the line that I am a big fan of and have never gotten to speak to until now. This gentleman not only played with the Plasmatics, but he also played drums on the only 2 solo albums that Wendy O. Williams ever released. And I've always had this big interest in T.C. Tolliver. And guess what? Now he's on the phones with us. Hey, T.C.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. It's so great to have you here, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, when 82 came around and the Coup d'etat album came out by Plasmatics, it was such a different sound from the band as opposed to their earlier records. And when I saw your picture on the back cover for the first time, it just blew me away, like with that bullet belt thing you had on, and just you looked like you just came out of fighting with Che Guevara in Cuba or something.
Exactly, right. You know, we had sort of like that little military, that futuristic type, you know, military look, you know, like Mad Max sort of.
It was awesome.
Type of vibe. And as far as the sound-wise, we had a different producer, Dieter Derrick.
Okay, and he worked with the Scorpions, right?
Yes, he was a producer for the Scorpions, absolutely. So we recorded in Cologne at his studio, Summer Breeze Studios, and he's an awesome producer as well as a person.
Wow.
You know. Yeah, it was great working with this guy, you know.
Did you guys get to hang out with any of the Scorpion guys at all?
No, we didn't see him at all.
Okay.
Maybe at that time they probably were on tour somewhere, you know.
Yeah, that's another great
doing
band.
Their thing or whatever they were doing.
Yeah, I saw those cats one time, and man, they were smoking live. Wow.
I never had the chance to see the Scorpions.
Oh, that's shocking.
I don't think I've ever seen that band. No.
You've been around a long time doing a lot of different types of music. It's so impressive. You've done like, you know, the jazz thing and the funk and the R&B, but you've done a heavy metal and punk rock. It's like you're just like the perennial drummer. They call you the heavy hitter, right?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, man, I have to relax and, you know, smell the coffee sometimes because at an early age, like in 72, 73, my first international band was Peaches and Herb. Do you believe that? Peaches and Herb to Wendy O. Williams, man. That's what a contrast. Right?
So let me get this right. Were you on tour with Peaches and Herb when they were touring for their hit song Reunited?
Yes.
Wow. That is
the first year of that one. Yeah, that was at the first year that they came out. In the 72. They'd been in hiatus for quite a while. And that was that little come out album. And yeah, so we did a tour. We, you know, played Europe, all over the islands, and, you know, all over the place.
What a trip. Whatever happened to Peaches and Herb?
Actually, Herb is still around. He's still doing his thing. You know, he ran through about 3 or 4 Peaches. And Linda Green, she was the Peaches at the time when I was with her, you know.
Okay.
But she's still out there doing her thing somewhere in California. You know, I hadn't kept in contact with her because I can't locate her. I would love to someday, but, you know.
Wow.
I'm sure, you know, she's out there still doing her thing, you know.
I'm just so impressed at how diverse your career has been. I love that because kind of like this show, we play everything. We just love all music, and if it's especially rock based, but all of it, you know. And man, you've jammed with Joe Lynn Turner, who was also the singer.
Oh yeah, he's a super nice guy as well, you know.
And he was from Rainbow for a while, right? He was in Rainbow.
Oh yeah. Awesome singer, man. You know.
Yeah, I like that.
Again, you know, a very super nice guy too, man. So we just did with Joe Lynn Turner. I played with him for about a couple months, and he did some kind of thing in California, and you know, he was just doing his own thing. At the same time, I'm out here still doing my thing. You know what I mean?
Now, where you at, TC? Are you on the East Coast?
Yes, I'm in New Jersey.
Okay. Wow.
New Jersey. I'm in Neptune, about 10 minutes from Stone Pony. It's sort of like a famous club here in Jersey.
So I've got to get right into asking you this one question in particular because I've always wondered, but how did you get involved with the Plasmatics camp? How did that start out for you?
This was pretty crazy, right? I'm from Washington, D.C. originally, right?
Yeah.
And being frustrated with the goings-on musically in D.C., so I just decided to play with the big boys in New York, right? If I'm going to do something, you know, let's do something for real. So in 82, I decided to move to New York through this paper called The Village Voice, you know, where they advertise bands. You know, it's
Certainly,
a New York paper.
Certainly, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, so the first few months I went to New York, it was for another band. It was another black rock group that caught my eye and caught my ear. That's the purpose that I moved up to New York to play with this band, right?
Yeah.
Before Living Color, before all these King's X, before all these guys, right?
What were they?
I thought I'd jump on.
Did they have a band? Did they have a name?
Yeah, matter of fact, it was called The Coup.
The Coup. Oh, wow. Trippy. Okay.
The Coup, believe that or not, it was a trip, man.
Wow.
But anyway, they sort of, not to put anybody down, I was on a mission, right? And they were pretty complacent in what was going on. Again, I was on a mission. So again, I looked in the Village Voice for a rock band, a hard-hitting, double bass drummer. And that was the ad. And lo and behold, it was Eddie Fantasia, a.k.a. Richie Stotts, who had led this, the audition thing. So I spoke with him over the phone, and he told me that, we're going to be auditioning drummers for about a week or so, And so they gave me a day, and I took this 12-piece drum kit, right, that I had forever, and my audition was about let's just say about 10 minutes long, play about 3 or 4 songs. So it was a matter of me setting up a 12-piece drum set in about 4 minutes.
Wow.
All the cymbals and everything, yeah.
That's impressive.
And the thing about that, what happened, it was the Metal Priestess album. That was my audition album. I love that album, man.
Me too. Wow. What a heavy record.
Yeah, and the manager came in, Dan Hartman was there on the second time that I auditioned. The first time, the manager said, what song do you want to do? Pick one, you know what I mean? So we went through all the songs. I played it quite well. And they told me they was going to get back with me. And I hadn't heard from them in about 3 or 4 days. So I called Eddie Fantasia, a.k.a. Richie Stotts. I called him back and asked him, what was the deal? I mean, what's my stats with the band? So to make a long story short, they called me back to audition once again, right? And this time they brought Dan Hartman.
Yeah.
Check me out and stuff, and about a week later, Rod Swenson, he was the manager. He called me and told me to come to the Loft. That's where him and Wendy lived, right?
Wow.
And so we called that the Castle and shit. So I'm sorry. And so we called that the Castle. So Rod invited me to the Castle, and from there he told me that if I would like to be in a band, that and the rest is history.
Wow. Now, were you familiar with the Plasmatics at that point?
Yes, I've heard of them, and this is the funny part, right? I was looking at when I was in D.C. I was looking at them on the Tom Snyder show, right?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, right. And I was looking at the band. I said, "Wow, this is a wild, crazy band. I would love to be in something like this, man. But they just need a groove, a beat, or something, because I can't follow this stuff, right?"
Yeah.
But they had that wild thing, and Jesus Christ, and lo and behold.
Wow.
There I am.
What a trip, man.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy, man. So some things were meant to be, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
And actually, that kind of changed their whole course from that, that punk thing to a metal band. And we became metal, in which they were like rivals, punk and metal at one time. It
was a breakthrough album, like blending punk and metal before like bands like Anthrax or those other bands did. You guys were pioneers.
Yeah, man, it was so many things, and so many transitions was going on at the time too. You know what I mean? It's like, you had that new wave thing going with your Patti Smythe and all this kind of stuff, and the Clash and
Duran Duran,
all these other type bands. But I don't know. But with Wendy, we just moved on up, man.
Yeah,
put us into a whole new genre.
I remember talking to Wendy back in '86, and she was talking very nice about you, and she was telling me.
Awesome.
That's after Richie Stotts was let go and stuff. But I had always wondered about, your association with that. And it was pretty impressive to find out that you actually, of course, are the drummer was on the Wow album and the Commander of Chaos, which were Wendy's only solo records. And every member of Kiss, it seems like, played on that record. Gene Simmons played bass under another name, of course. Paul Stanley made an appearance. Vinnie Vincent, Eric Carr, and Ace Frehley.
The whole band. So in a way, you could say Kiss played with me, okay?
That's a
because
trip.
It was our album. You can look at it like that. But yes, I played with Kiss, and on that Wow album, Wendy's first solo album, Wes Beach and I, we laid down the tracks, just us, And Reginald Van Helsing, wink, wink,
Gene
came
Simmons.
and laid and laid the bass down, and the boys came along later, with Eric Carr, and I think even Vinnie Vince has got his fingers on there somewhere, I think.
So were you actually in the studio playing with Gene Simmons then?
Yes.
And then
when he was laying down some of his tracks, yes.
And then the other guys came in at their convenience and laid down the different guitar tracks and things like that?
Absolutely, yep.
What a trip, man.
And at the same time, the vocals was Gene, myself, and West Beach.
Wow.
We did all the background vocals on it, yep.
Yeah, West Beach was on the show about a month ago. He's a good friend. He's actually written songs with me before.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's
He's a good writer too, man.
Oh God, he's such a good writer, and I think Wes was probably in the Plasmatics more, as far as the history, more than any other person. I think too. I think he's on everything, for the most part.
Yeah, he was there from day one, I believe. Him and Chelsea Farina.
Yeah.
And Stu Dutch.
Also, it's interesting to note that Wow album received a Grammy nomination for Best Female Rock Vocal in 1985. If people didn't know that. I think Wendy was.
I know that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Wendy was pretty proud of that, man.
Oh, I would be too. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I think about 2 years ago, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just inducted Wendy O. Williams too, because she's from Rochester, New York, right?
Oh, did they really induct her?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Rochester, yeah.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, and Rod, as a matter of fact, Rod Swenson, the manager, myself, and West Beach, accepted the award and everything. So it was a pretty nice little thing going on.
I did not know that, TC. That's really mind-blowing, man.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Wow. Crazy. So
I thought that was pretty cool.
Is Rod Swenson still living in Connecticut, do you know?
I believe he's in Arizona. Rod's all over the place. He has a place here in Jersey as well.
Okay.
One in Storrs, Connecticut, and he also have a place in Arizona.
I wanted to ask you something real quick outside of Plasmatics questions. One of my listeners contacted me, and I saw this on YouTube, so I don't know if it's true or I just saw some comments, but I figured it can't hurt to ask. Are you the grandfather of the artist known as Black China?
Alleged, but I don't want to go down that venue.
Okay, no problem, man. I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, sure, it's fine. No, that's alleged, yes.
It's a legend?
Alleged.
No,
alleged. So we'll keep it there, man. Okay, mystery's okay.
Yeah.
Also, my friends, if you're listening right now, we are talking with Mr. T.C. Tolliver, drummer, hard-hitting musician, songwriter, singer extraordinaire. He can catch him in the Plasmatics documentary. It's 10 years of revolutionary rock and roll. Of course, TC blends his life work of musical sounds, R&B, jazz, funk, rock and roll, metal, punk, you name it, man. How can people find you, by the way, if they want to do more research and find out what your future gigs are and things like that?
Oh, actually, you can find me on Facebook, and I have my own website, tctolliver.com.
Nice.
And you can just Google my name.
Yeah,
and pretty much my whole life is there,
Now, you got to play with Motorhead, too, right? You've jammed with Lemmy and Motorhead in England and things like that?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we brought Lemmy out, and we played No Class. One of his songs, actually, that we put on our album as well. Oh,
that's right, at the Hammersmith, because when you guys were in England, Wendy sent me a letter from there saying she was excited to be playing the Hammersmith Odeon, and then I saw that video with Lemmy. I was like, yeah, I wish I could have been there, man,
Yeah, man, that was a pretty awesome, crazy night, man. Yeah, it was pretty intense, man.
Was Lemmy pretty close to the band?
Oh, yeah. I mean, him and Wendy go way back. I look at Lemmy as a female Wendy and Wendy as a male Lemmy. You know what I'm saying? So they're just one of a kind, man,
That's a great way of putting it, too.
I've got another weird question for you. West Beach, one time, went to visit the notorious shock rocker G.G. Allen in prison before he died. And apparently West Beach was going to start a band with G.G. and that you were going to play drums. Is this true?
Well, at that time, before I knew about G.G., all his antics and all that kind of stuff, I knew he was a wild guy, too. And I love that wild stuff, man. You know what I mean? I love that showman, that crazy, crazy stuff, like the tubes and all that kind. But anyway, the guitar player, I forget his name right now, but he had called me and asked me if I would be interested in playing with G.G. you know. And I was about to, because I think, were they from Washington?
New Hampshire.
Washington?
New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire. Okay, I know it wasn't too far from me. But not so like read his background and all that kind of stuff. But that was a little bit over my head, man.
Yeah, it's a little over. It's a little over a lot of people's head.
Too wild for me, man.
Well, you know, interestingly enough, I'll just make this quick, but I knew Gigi since like 83 till about 90, and I actually wrote songs for some of his albums and toured with.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, I toured with the guy like right when he was establishing his reputation as being really crazy, and boy, it was really intense.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't want to be a part of that shit, man.
No, I don't think so. You know, I mean, I like wild things, but no.
That's beyond the word wild. That goes into another realm that there's no word for.
Yeah, it's a whole other world, you know.
Well, you know, there's dangerous, and then there's dangerous, and that's just one of those ships you want to jump off before it sinks quickly.
Absolutely.
But you know,
Absolutely.
even Dee Dee Ramone tried out for Gigi's band, and Gigi turned around and said, "We don't want you," which was like really weird.
Maybe he wasn't wild enough or couldn't accept whatever Gigi was throwing out. I don't know, man.
Well, he told me
he was on a whole complete different trip, man, you know?
Well, he told me that Dee Dee couldn't even tune his own bass, and that kind of bummed him out that he couldn't really tune his own bass, I guess, or something. I don't know. Weird.
Pretty crazy, man, yeah.
But that's something I wanted to ask you about because that's definitely a weird story that, you know, that would have possibly even have happened. That's crazy. I got to see the Plasmatics several times in their career, and the best time by far was when you were with the band in '82, I think it was, on the Creatures of the Night tour. You were opening for Kiss, and it was it was almost like a high school gymnasium in Iowa, and it was a small gig. It was packed, but it wasn't mega packed because Kiss was on their kind of downward spiral. But the Plasmatics show was what we came for, not Kiss, and it was amazing. Like, we were all doing LSD, and everyone in the audience was right up front. And at one point, Wendy smashed the television set, right? She throws it into the audience, and one of the pieces of the tube that was hot landed on my buddy's arm and really messed him up, like gave him a severe burn. And
believe it or not, man, I think I remember something like that.
Do you remember that?
I remember something like that because I remember seeing something. These people are like grabbing a TV, and I'm seeing all this blood dripping down their arms. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and my buddy had a.
So that was Iowa, huh?
Yeah, it was Iowa, and I think it was the Five Flag Center, maybe. And he had a gas mask on because, like, again, we were tripping on drugs. We were young guys.
Right.
And we had gas masks on, and we went to somebody from your camp came out from backstage and wanted us to sign a waiver or get some information to help. And my buddy said, no, I refuse to sue you or anything like that because I came here for revolutionary rock and roll, and that's what I got. And it was so intense, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of crazy things were going on there. You know, even one time we played, I think, San Antonio in Texas, right?
Yeah.
The first time we played with Kiss was in Texas. We did that little Bible Belt thing.
Oh, boy.
And, oh, man, the first two nights was pretty rough. They did not accept us whatsoever.
Oh, boy.
You know? But the third and fourth night, man, I kept hearing reports like after our gig, half the auditorium left.
Yeah, because you guys were the show, man. Kiss was great, but you guys were way greater.
Yeah, and a few months later, I guess Kiss couldn't stand it, so, you know, like, hey, we're going to get another band, you know?
Ah.
So, okay, whatever, so.
It was really incredible. That band is something to be proud of for sure, because Wendy was such a one-of-a-kind front person, and come on, you know, with the band that she had and that you had, that was just amazing, man.
It was a perfect combination as well, you know? We all got along well, you know, like brothers, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
no fights, no nothing. We're all on the same page. You know, that makes a difference, too, a huge difference.
Amen, amen.
Something to be proud of. TC, I always like to ask guests that we have on the show, just it's kind of a general question. I know you've probably been playing music pretty much your whole life. If you could go back to, say, you know, being a young kid, 10, 11, 12, whatever, before you became really serious about music, what career would you have chosen other than, if you went into something other than music, what would you say you might have become other than a musician?
Believe it or not, like you said, around 11 or 10 or something like that, I was interested in being a pilot, believe it or not.
Wow. Really?
A jet fighter pilot.
I was interested in the same thing. In high school, I was one dotted line away from going into the Air Force, into the pilot program.
Wow, because my brother was in the Air Force. Maybe that was the thing that sort of encouraged me, like.
Yeah.
Like, wow, if I were to go into any kind of branch, any kind of military branch, it would be the Air Force, and I would love to fly jets, man.
Isn't that crazy? Like you think about what your life might have been like, and it would have been completely opposite from what it turned out to be. I wouldn't have guessed that you would have said pilot. That's the first time I've ever gotten that answer from anybody. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But that music bug,
Yeah.
it bit me at a very, very early age.
I can imagine.
I would just say, I'd say it was about 7 or 8, you know?
wow.
It's not that I was old enough, I guess, to take care of myself, but my mother didn't want to leave me home. There's a place, it's a theater, Howard Theater in Washington, D.C., right? Where all the R&B acts play, you know.
Yeah.
Joe Tex, you name it, Joe Jackson, and, a lot of people. So my mom took me with her. Well, she couldn't find a babysitter, so she just dragged me along, right? And when I saw the band, the drums and everything, I was bit, right? I was spitting right
You were hooked.
in there. And I knew what I wanted to do in life.
Well, that's
I knew
cool.
it,
It takes some people a long time to figure out what they're supposed to be doing, and
Sure do.
clearly you were meant to bang on the drums.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that,
And TC,
So, like in high school, I just stayed longer. I mean, in high school, the band I was with, that's where I pretty much, honed my drumming. You know what I mean? And from there, I learned how to keep a beat, in other words, you know what I mean? And learn my timing and all that kind of stuff, Been influenced by a lot of different people, older musicians. And there's one guy, you may not have heard of him. His name is Milt Matthews. He was on A&M Records a long time ago. This was like late 60s.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of the artists that I played with as well.
wow.
I didn't do any recording, but just played around, like Connecticut, up and down the East Coast and stuff like that. So, man, I started out very young and been blessed and never got scratched once. How people get hung up on drugs or alcohol or all kinds of scandals and this and that,
That's so refreshing to hear, because as you see here, especially in the last, 2-3 years, we've lost so many great musicians, great talents to that very thing. So
Yeah.
that's great to hear.
Yeah. God bless you,
Yeah,
TC, man.
Oh, man, I never understood that anyway. Well, music, man, if you playing music, that is a natural high, man. Anything will just mess that up.
Well,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
and most people, some people at least, are blessed with having a steady income and being able to do what they love by playing music. And it's sad. It's sad when someone is doing, what makes them happy, you think, and you look from the outside and people have money and fame, but it just goes to show that, if you don't have, I guess, not to sound cheesy, but if you don't have love in your life and people around you that care about you and are looking out for
You have nothing.
you don't have anything. Yeah.
Well,
You don't have anything at all.
Well, you were blessed with a good mother. That's a big part of it, man.
Yes, that's my mom. She just passed away last year as well.
Aw, sorry to hear
Just
that,
before
bro.
Christmas, man.
Sorry to hear that, TC.
Yeah, man. But she was a partying lady, man. I tell you, man, that's my girl, man.
Yeah, well, God bless your mom,
real.
bro.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, she was a sweet woman.
We don't have a whole lot of time left, but I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell us, do you have any current projects, anything brand new you're working on?
Well, actually, my CD would be my second year or third. Man, time is going so fast. It may be my third year anniversary for my new CD. I had a new CD out about 3 years ago.
Okay.
That was just my only solo thing I did. But the way music things going right now, I don't care too much about, writing new music. But I'm playing with a lot of different artists. For instance, Vanilla Fudge, I'm playing with Vinnie Martell.
Wow.
And Pete Bremy, the bass player. Yes, we have this group, Rock Gold. You can find that on YouTube.
Rock Gold?
Rock Gold, yes.
Okay, I'm going to look for that, and we'll play some Rock Gold on the show next week. And what is your solo album called so I can order a copy?
It is called Alien Fortress.
I will order a copy tonight, my friend, when I get off the air.
Oh, that would be awesome, man. You can find it on CD Baby or any of those Amazon, any of those outlets, you know.
Yeah, I'll get it tonight. I'm a fanatic, and I'm a big fan of you, and I want to get more of your stuff. And maybe we can have you back on sometime if you'd be so kind, and we can play more of your music besides the Plasmatic stuff, you know.
Oh, that would be awesome, man. That'd be quite awesome, and we can just talk and go through some of how the songs became what they became. You know what I mean?
That would be really cool.
As a matter of fact, hey, buddy, as a matter of fact, why don't you email me your address and I'll send you out a CD.
Oh man, I love you. Thank you so much. I will totally do that.
I'll send you a couple.
Oh man, can you sign them? Can you sign them for
Tracy?
me?
Yes, Tracy.
What's her name, Tracy?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'll send you both one.
And if you could
Awesome.
sign them for us, I'd be more than happy.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, yeah, I'll send you the address. TC Tolliver, thanks so much for taking the time out. I know it's late. I know you did some gigs recently and you're tired, and I definitely enjoyed the talk, and let's do it again sometime, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'll look forward to it.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, and may the force continue to be with you, and thanks for being so positive, man, and stay clean, brother.
All right. Thank you, man, very much, man.
Thanks
to
so
both
much.
of you.
Thanks so much, TC. Have a great night.
Okay, T, you do the same.
Okay, blessings, bro. Take care, and thanks for the great music.
Blessings.
All right, bye-bye. God, I love that guy, man.
Yeah, what a great cat.
I just cut him off when he said ciao. He's saying ciao, and I hit the button.